So can you just name that you're here? Bert,
Bert here.
Jill,
Here.
Brooke,
Here.
Linda?
Here.
Okay. Can I get an approval of the agenda?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Okay. Linda,
Yep.
Bert,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Brooke?
Yes.
Okay, great. We're going to start. First and foremost, I'd like to discuss as we go into the deliberations, one of the things I think is really important is that we learn to ask a little bit more questions of the people coming in to see us. You can never ask too many questions. No question is stupid, just the answer can be, correct? So I think that in sitting back and watching it, especially for the two of you that are really new, I think there were a lot of questions that I would hope that you would have had towards these organizations, and to the people that have been here, sometimes asking the questions that we maybe had issues with in the past gives us some resolution as to what, where these stand on some of the items that we've discussed in prior years. So as we go through into the interviews, and I would like to see you have at least 3 questions, everybody, that you're asking people about the organizations that we're going to see, or maybe questions that might come up here, so that you have a much better understanding of the history of these organizations, of what they do, and how our funding does or does not help them, whether or not we're funding what we're supposed to be funding, whether we're funding what we really want to be funding, what we're funding what we need to be funding. Okay. So as we go on, I'm going to start with, does anybody have any questions in regards to some of the organizations that came in to talk to us before we go off into each one? And then I'll talk about, we got the responses on times available, and I've heard from Bert and I've heard from Linda, or Ann has, and I have it, as to who's available to go where on the interviewing process of this. So does anybody have any questions that have come up over the organizations that have come to in front of us so far?
A question about Gosnell. Have they officially pulled out, or we still have to consider them?
This is tricky. I just got off the phone with them, actually.
Okay.
Good question, Bert.
Yeah.
And I'm still getting the runaround. I brought up the fact that Brooke had, that somebody had said they'd gone on the website. The website says it's closed. They said just because something might be closed doesn't mean we're pulling, but we don't have any solid answer. You're on my list to get back to you because I know you all deserve to have an answer.
They don't have staff here either, do they, anymore?
They're
not working with Nancy.
Linda, I think that I can't answer that question because Gosnell has not answered that question officially for me. But what I can say is I did ask, I said, in this process, you need to officially pull your grant. And she said, again, that is on my list. I'm not quite sure why it's writing a single little paragraph to us. Pulling is such a problem, but that was the only response I got this morning. I actually got off the phone just as I was coming on to this Zoom call.
So, Dorothy?
Yeah, Brooke?
So I've been in touch with Gosnold related to a public forum that we're organizing for CHS. And the way that someone reached out to me to replace, Nancy was supposed to do it. And a person named Erin Russell emailed me with a copy to Michael Elia, who is the chief clinical officer. And they said, we've had some changes in our staffing on our Nantucket site, and we'll be attending the forum for Gosnold. So presumably from not on Nantucket, but that's the most information I have. They are still planning to participate and talk about the services they offer on Nantucket. So, but that's as much as I know.
Okay. Well, thank you. I think that that's sort of, they're trying to tell us what exactly they're going to be doing. And until they can officially give it to me, we're not going to get the official response. But thank you for that one. Linda, were you going to say something?
No, I sneezed.
Oh, God bless.
Allergies have been bad this year.
Yeah, I think for everybody. Okay, does anybody, anything else, Bert, in regards to that?
Yeah, in terms of site visits, I'm happy to do Small Friends and the Food Pantry again.
Okay, you're on the food pantry. Yay!
So did you get my feedback, Dorothy?
I did not. Maybe it came back. When did it come in?
I responded almost immediately.
Oh, I actually did not see it, so I apologize.
Okay,
Yeah,
no
I
worries.
responded the minute I got it.
Brooke, what was your?
And I responded to Ann.
Okay. I'm going to go by everybody because it's getting a little
Okay.
bit. Okay. Brooke, what did you say you were interested in doing?
Okay, so I basically gave available times because it looks like some of the things overlapped, so it wasn't clear to me. I'm happy to go anywhere, and then I sent Ann a complete list of the times I have available in my schedule to just slot me in wherever
Okay.
it gets scheduled.
I'll have Ann resend that to me because I can't, maybe right now, I can't see it, so I'll have her resend it in the email.
Okay, all right. And if Ann didn't get it, I'm happy to dig it up. I just have to find it in my sent box. I don't remember exactly. It was.
Okay.
I think Dorothy, I was Safe Place and Health Imperatives.
You
That's
were.
it.
I have that down.
Oh, goody.
And Jill, are you available for anything? Where would you like to go?
I guess for me, I'd be interested in health imperatives, and if it works out, that'd be great. And safe place.
Okay. Of those times available, you guys, what works for you two on the health imperatives and safe place?
What time was the Health Imperatives?
Health imperatives has tomorrow 10 to 2, the 13th 10 to 12. I mean, sorry, 10 to 12 on the. I'm going to start all over. On the 12th, it's 10 to 12. On the 13th, it's 10 to 12. Or 1 to 2 on the 20th, 10 to 12. But I'd rather try to get it not done on the 20th.
I'm gonna try to get it done this week.
I would like to.
What
Yeah,
was the one, not tomorrow, but the next one? Sorry.
That's okay. The 13th?
I'm all right either day.
And what time the 13th? We have a meeting at 10.
10 to 12, so that doesn't work. 1 to 2.
I can do 1 to 2 on Wednesday.
And this is a Safe Place or Health Imperatives?
Health imperative.
All right, what time?
1 to 2.
Okay.
On Wednesday, I can do that.
You can't have 3 of us.
We can't have 3 of them there. It becomes.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that's fine.
But are
I'm
we
happy to-
physically going there, or we're just doing on Zoom?
You still can't. Whether you're going via Zoom or whatever, it can only be 2 of you that go.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
Okay. A safe place.
What were the times on that?
The 13th, it was 2 or 4. The 14th was between 1:30 and 4, and the 15th between 1:30 and 5.
Okay, any of those days.
Jill?
Except
I'd
for
rather
something
just do
late.
Wednesday at 2 and get it and just do them back to back.
Okay. Bert, you're gonna do the food pantry, before 1 o'clock on Friday or after 2:30?
Before 1?
That's what it says, before 1. What time works for you?
12:30, whatever they want to do.
How about 12?
Okay. Now, they're
I
still,
could do-
they're still in the same place there, right?
They are.
Okay.
I could do 12:30 on Friday, but not 12.
Well, it says before 1 or after 2:30. So can you guys do after 2:30 then?
Yes.
Okay, Bert, can you do after 2:30?
Yeah,
Okay, so let's do that,
do 2:30?
2:30.
Okay.
Small friends. Bert, you said you wanted to do small friends?
Yes, I do.
They're available Tuesday through Friday after 3:30. What date it works for you, Bert?
Any day. I'm not going anywhere.
I'd love to go to Small Friends, and we could go right from the food pantry to Small Friends on Friday. Does that work for them?
Work for you? Does that work for you, Bert?
Yeah, so 3 o'clock at Small Friends?
I would say
3:30.
at Small Friends, because that's when they say they can see you.
3:30?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so if we go, all right, so if we spend 45 minutes at the food pantry and then move on to that's great, okay.
So ASAP, I actually am going to do the ASAP meeting. I don't know who else would like to, but I would like to do the ASAP meeting. I'd like to see where we are with NAMI.
When were you gonna do that?
It says they're available Thursday 11 to 3 or Tuesday 10 to 3. I would like to do it on Thursday.
Thursday, 11. So let me just pull up the day. Hang on one second. So
Who are we missing right now, Dorothy? Is it just, are we missing somebody here? A member?
Nope.
No.
There's only 4 of us up here. 1, 2, 3, 4.
What? No, there
5.
isn't.
Oh, 5. Okay.
Should be 6.
Of you.
I'm just looking at what I can see on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
So-
There should be 6, and then Rachel just joined.
There's 6 of us. You're not counting yourself, Linda.
Counting names up here. 1, 2, 3.
You're not counting you.
Oh, there's John. 4. Okay.
I'm here. I've just been very quiet for good reason.
So tell me again, Thursday for ASAP, what time?
Anytime between 11 and 3. What can you do?
I could do 11.
Okay.
You have something on your calendar, Jill? You gotta check your calendar.
I don't have to for this.
Okay, so we have elder services. It'll be virtual.
I can do that.
Okay.
I unfortunately, I have been in semi-quarantine since the middle of March. I have not been inside another structure for any length of time, so I can only do virtual.
Well, I'm 100% behind you there on. So great.
So anything, any virtual is nobody else wants to do, I'm happy to do.
Okay. So why don't we put you in as the virtual on with elder services?
Sure, absolutely. Been there before, done that.
And I'll have Sherry reach out to you, or I'll send you her phone number. You reach out to her and you set it up with her.
Okay.
Okay. That way you're well. We have Artists Association. I would actually like to go there. I don't know if anybody else would like to.
I'll go with you because we went last year and it was really enjoyed that.
Okay.
What are their times?
At 4 o'clock.
What day?
They have available today, the 13th and 14th. I cannot do today, but
I can't do it today.
13th or 14th.
Okay,
Can
13th.
we do it on the can we do it on the 14th, Linda?
What is that? A Thursday?
Yeah.
Yeah. What time?
They say 4 o'clock.
Okay.
And Fair Winds, that's going to be a virtual because they're going to Zoom everybody in. I would like to do that just to get a little better understanding. And anybody else? Oh. Anybody?
You and I have done it for a couple of years now, but if one of the new members would like to do Fair Winds, it's always very educational.
Yeah, I think that somebody.
What were their times? I'm running out of time because I FinCom a lot this week too. So that's, and I work, so I've got to cram it all in.
On the 15th, they're open most of the day. They have most of the day available.
I could do that.
Okay. Jill, I'll get back to you on a time once I talk to them, okay?
Okay.
Okay, is there any organization I didn't talk about?
Cape Mediation, Community MVY, South Coast, Nantucket Cottage Hospital, and that's pretty much it.
We haven't heard from the Cottage Hospital. I only responded with the ones I've heard from so far.
Okay, Cape Mediation, which is all Zoom.
Yeah, we haven't heard from them either. So I'm going to go with what we have, and if we hear from when we hear from the other, I'll get in touch with everybody. Okay, we'll have Ian send out an email. Okay.
And just keep in mind that if there's something that nobody else wants to do and it's Zoom, I'm available.
Yeah, I think it might be cool for you to do some of the Zoom ones. John.
Yep.
Okay. At this point, we've taken care of that. So let's go ahead and start. John, one of the things you missed, I don't know when you came in on this, but I was saying that I would really like to see people ask a few more questions of the organizations that have come in front of us. Some of them to help everybody better that are new board members to better understand maybe things in the past that we've had questions and see if they've changed them.
Yep.
We might have seen them. Or there's got to be something in everybody's presentation to us that there's got to be a question about. So
well, I will say that just as a footnote, in the past we've had more than not our share of questions for Fair Winds, and I have to say, in the last 2 years, and particularly this year, they have addressed so much that occupied so much of our time in the past that it's a much clearer picture to talk about.
I agree with you that it is. And to be honest with everybody, we got the financials for them, and I'm going to hold them off till Wednesday's deliberations talking, because I personally have not. I was in Boston for a procedure this weekend and just didn't have time to really look at everything. Okay, so I promise everybody it is on my thing to hit this week. And Rachel, just so you know, I talked to Gosnell before we started today, and they did not give me any answer, and they have not sent their official. They're saying that we'll have some kind of answer. We're on the list to get us an official answer, hopefully by the beginning of next week. Okay. So as we start, does anybody have any questions about any of the organizations other than the one Bert just brought up before we start talking about them? No. Okay. Want to start with Cape Mediation?
Okay.
Cape Mediation is requesting $2,205.08 from us. Oh, you know what? I'm going to go back for a minute. Sorry, one of the things I really want us to get clear, I don't know if I've said this before, so I want to just reiterate it if I have. As we go through this process, I'm going to be honest, when we saw Cape Mediation, I did not think that we were paying for what we paid for at Cape Mediation. We were presented to pay for travel. So as we go through everybody's grant this year and we give our allotted money to them, I want it to be very clear what we are paying for and what we are not paying for. So that when they go to write the contract, the people writing the contract, whether it's Rachel or Jericho, are doing it based on what we are making our recommendations on. Okay? Brooke?
So I have a question about Cape Mediation. Is that?
Yeah, please.
So you had raised the issue of our relative contribution to their bottom line versus other communities. And
Correct.
it would be really interesting, particularly, like the travel expenses are obvious, right? Those are Nantucket related. Administrative expenses. I took in the question you asked, and I wonder if it's possible to evaluate how many hours they serve Nantucket versus in their entirety, and that we could pay administrative expenses to that ratio rather than just a number. You know, did they calculate it based on a ratio of the number of mediation hours they provide Nantucket versus, you know, their total number of hours?
Isn't
see what I'm getting
it, Dorothy, isn't it, we pay for travel for South Coast, MVY, and I believe Cape Mediation is travel.
No,
And
it is-
they're a lot larger in other courts, obviously in Barnstable, it's huge, not so much here.
Okay, so Linda, I'm gonna make some clarifications on that.
Yeah,
This is what I brought up. And looking at where our funding went, there were 4 towns that gave money. I'm sorry, 5. 5 towns: Chatham, Eastham, Provincetown, Truro, and Nantucket. Out of those monies, Eastham gave $500, P-Town gave $1,500, Truro gave $300, Nantucket gave $2,579. Chatham gave nothing. Those monies and funds can be seen under expenses under the executive director's salary and underneath taxes. The money they show us is designated in those 2. I believed we had, and this is where I'm saying that about the contract, because I did have Ann, because I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I thought we paid for their travel expenses.
travel, yeah.
But it is not what we agreed upon in the written contract, which underneath the description of services, it says funding shall be used to pay for mediation, collation, court coordinator, program director, and executive director's time and travel related expenses incurred to provide the services. So we are saying that we will pay for the time in the contract underneath description of services number 5. And that's why clearly they did 11 cases this last year for Nantucket. They saw 11 cases. I did write and ask that. And she explained they didn't come over to Nantucket since they haven't come over to Nantucket since March. So I think when we saw the presentation, it was presented to us that we would be paying travel, and that's what we thought we were paying. But if we had, and that on me, I did not see that we were paying for the executive director's time and travel related expenses, because I don't think the director ever comes here. It's always a volunteer that comes to the island.
Yeah.
So Brooke, on that, I
Well,
doubt.
it's also unclear. Sorry, Dorothy. Oh,
Let's go on ahead, Joe.
It
Go.
says a statement of costs from July 19 to June 20. Number of residents served 20. Hours 9, I think is what you gave them last year, right?
Okay, can you say that again? Because I lost you for 1 second. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. On page 2, it says at the bottom, it says it's page 2. It's actually page 3. It says statement of costs. Number of Nantucket residents served 20. Hours of service 40, and they charged $2,579. I think that's what you gave them last year.
Yeah, I was just going to mention the same thing. I think that's why our understanding is that money.
Right. But Rachel, but it's half the, like half.
You're, Jill, I'm sorry, but your voice is cutting in and out.
Oh, sorry. I'll try to get close.
Okay, sorry. You
I was
saying?
just saying, if they went from 20 residents to 11, and they're only asking for $300 less, then it, I don't know if they're spending more hours per person, but
They didn't have court for a while, so there wasn't anything to mediate. So probably the 11 is condensed into a shorter time period because there was no court at all for several months, starting back in the early spring. So maybe that explains some of why the numbers are down, because there just wasn't anybody in court here. And there wasn't even Zoom court at that point. There was no court for maybe 2 or 3 months.
right.
So what they told me is for fiscal year 20, they saw 10 cases. And those 10 cases served 20 people.
So, Dorothy?
But Rachel, hold on one second, Brooke, because Rachel was going to
Sure.
say something. Oh, but she's not. Rachel, are you still there?
I am. It's my camera. I was just going to mention the same thing Jill did. This is sort of what happened with Fairwinds, where number of people and how they're reporting their data. So they do say 20 residents, but you had just indicated 10 cases. So you're sort of saying the same thing, but they're saying that cost to them was the $2,579. So I think that's where this group is also getting confused, because it does look like the funding that we provided would be just for serving the Nantucket residents and the time and the travel, if that's how it's listed in that chart, the statement of cost. But it sort of looks like it's represented it different the way you just did it in the very beginning by saying the other towns and the executive director costs and things like that. So I think asking them, those 20 residents, those 40 hours, are those billed to 40 hours? And is that the true cost in Nantucket? And that number 3 that Jill pointed out is probably a clarification point.
So I think we're gonna ask that. We'll ask that question of them. We'll send an email and ask that. Brooke?
So the number of resident service for FY20, which ended June of 20, right? So number of residents served was 20, but they said it was 11 cases.
10 cases.
One on each side of the equation.
Right, okay. So they're saying it's 6.8% of the total cases, right? So what I'm getting at is if we take the executive director's salary, which is the line they're applying our grant request to, right? Of 53,073, and take 6.8% of that, that exceeds what they're asking for. So if their numbers are right, if we're willing to compensate for the executive director's time in coordinating the services here for the number of cases served, then it falls within, they're asking for less than the actual cost of that person for 6.8% of the cases, which is what Nantucket represented. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, I get what you're saying. I want us to know that what we're actually paying for.
Right.
But I am going to ask for clarification on that.
Yep. So what I'm saying is, if they say that that's part of where the grant's going, I would be comfortable with it as long as it falls in as a percentage of what our work represents to that person's total workload.
Okay.
As a percentage of cases. That's what I'm trying to say.
Jill, do you have any questions?
I mean, I like how they broke it down here for last year, and I don't really have a problem with that. I don't even have a problem with it going to their executive director if they're so volunteer based. It doesn't sound like we're paying a lot of people's, it's not going to a lot of salaries and wages, but I'm fine with it. I don't see a huge problem. I
I
like
don't
how they
either.
broke it down like that.
I don't either.
Right, so I think the big thing is I just want us to know that we have to decide. If That's great. We just have to make sure the wording of what we put in our document on this one goes with what we all believe as we go forward. John, do you have any comments?
I think this waterfront has been well covered by everybody else.
Okay, awesome. Bert, any comments?
No,
Okay. Does somebody want to make a motion on this?
You want to go through all of them first before we make a motion, or do it individually like we've done in the past?
I think I want to do them individually because I don't think we're going to get to all of them. I would like to go individually.
Okay, I'll make a motion on Cape Mediation for what they ask.
Second.
Dorothy, may I ask a procedural question?
Yes.
So if the requests exceed the budget amount and we take them one by one, does that mean the last organization standing gets less because they're the last one we consider?
No, what happens is usually what we do in the procedure is we look at the ones that are asking us for the least amount of money first.
Yeah.
Okay.
And from there, we're able to, and then we actually will go out with the others once we determine where those first organizations are at.
Because
Okay,
overall,
perfect,
Dorothy,
thank you.
aren't we getting 650?
Yes, we are, Linda.
Which means that without taking Gosnold out of there, we are at 749, which means we have to cut out, about $100,000 total to get back to the 650. Just keep that in mind.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll second Linda's motion.
I think Jill already had.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, sorry.
Okay, so I'm going to take a call on that. Linda,
Yep.
Jill,
Yep.
Brooke?
Yes.
Bert,
aye.
John,
Aye.
Dorothy, aye. Okay, we are going to go to our next one, which is South Coast Legal Services. Do we have any discussion on them?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, first I wanted to see if there was any discussion. Bert, any discussion?
No,
Linda, any discussion?
Nope.
Brooke,
Nope.
Jill?
I really don't on this one. I really thought that he did a great job.
Okay, John?
No.
Okay. Linda?
Nope, I'll reiterate my motion.
Yep, okay. Linda has a motion. Do we have a
Second
second?
it.
Okay, John seconded. Okay, we'll start all over. Linda?
Yep.
John?
Yes.
Jill?
Yes.
Brooke?
Yes.
Bert?
yes.
Give me 1 second, everybody. The next one up for discussion is Small Friends.
I'll make that motion if there's no questions.
Well, let's
Oh.
everybody get everything in front of them first, Bert, and then and Linda.
Linda made a motion to approve it.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I'm not
Pending.
sure, we don't have discussion yet, so I haven't
Right.
asked for discussion.
pending everybody's comments.
Well, my one comment would be, Dorothy, that they haven't been able to do their full days, I don't think, right now. I think they have had to do away with that extended hour or two that we were paying for.
For the last year, right?
Yeah.
Right now,
Oh,
but
yeah.
they're looking at,
For next
FY,
year. So they're
FY
gonna-
22.
yeah, but hopefully their 2021, hopefully, we're hoping in the next couple of months when they go into their second quarter, hopefully they'll be able to reopen with staff, with further
The
further
extra
hours
hour,
and
or
more
two, yeah,
staff.
yeah.
That's what we can hope for.
Because they don't get this money until July 1.
Well, I would just comment that with the lack of childcare resources on Nantucket, this is a critical investment on our part.
Jill, do you have any questions?
I'm sorry, I can't find that in front of me because it's the only one I'm missing. I don't know why. I think I'm sorry. Forgive me.
It's really skinny, Jill.
Yeah. And I think it got caught up in my Citizen Warrant article somewhere. Ugh.
Uh-oh.
But I remember their presentation and
They're asking for $15,000 to provide money
the
nutrition
the snacks. Yeah.
and extended day.
Yeah. I mean, I'm totally supportive of that. People are really struggling with childcare.
Yeah, they
And
are.
food.
Okay, John, do you have any discussion on it?
No discussion.
Linda has a motion on the floor. Well, can we wait till Bert gets back here, guys?
I was just dusting behind my computer.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sitting here looking at an inch of dust behind it, so I decided to dust it. Sorry.
Linda. You have a motion on the,
Yep, I'll reiterate my motion to approve as
second.
submitted.
okay, so Linda,
Yep,
Jill,
Yes.
Brooke,
Yes.
Bert,
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion for 15,000 to be given to small friends. Or to be granted to small friends.
Yeah.
The next one is Martha's Vineyard, MBY, Martha Vineyard, Community Services.
Dorothy,
Yes, ma'am.
this is another process question, sorry. You had asked before about being specific about what the money's for. Do we need to state that in our motions?
We'll do that when we go back through this to take the whole thing.
you can
Great,
also do
okay.
as submitted, as requested. That
Yeah, I
would
was just gonna say,
simplify.
when Linda makes the motion, if she said for the full funding as requested, which I believe she has, it kind of covers that as long as they outlined it properly.
Yeah.
Okay, terrific.
Okay, Martha's Vineyard Community Services. Any questions?
I'll make that motion if nobody has a question.
Linda has a motion.
I'll second it.
The seconded. We'll start all over. Linda,
Yep,
Brooke,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Bert,
Yes.
John.
Yes.
We have a you're gonna go to
elder services.
is it Elder Services?
Yeah,
Oh, you're right. Thank you. Any discussion on Elder Services?
I'll make that motion to give them 100,000.
I agree.
Linda, you're gonna have to talk to them outside, like that process.
So I'll make that motion for the 20,000.
Okay. How are you making that motion? I should have asked you that on the last one. How are you making that motion?
As requested. They're very specific.
Do I have a second on that?
Second,
Okay. Linda,
Yep.
John,
yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Brooke,
Yes.
Bert?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, the next one is the Artists Association.
Used.
Jill has reclused herself from that. We have a discussion on this?
Is it at 18,200?
No, the Artists Association is asking us for 22,100.
And we gave them 18,200 last year?
We did.
Huh?
I would make a motion to level fund them at what we gave them last year.
Okay. We have a motion from Bert to level fund them. Do we have a second on that or discussion? Brooke, you have questions?
No, I'm just struggling with being able to work through the end numbers while we're going at them one at a time. My brain just is having a hard time wrapping itself around making a reduction. I mean, I know we need to make reductions.
Well, here's the problem before we even discuss it. Either it's seconded or it dies for lack of second and we keep talking.
Right.
So I suggest you make a determination that it died for lack of a second for now. And then we can keep talking.
Okay, thanks, Linda. We're gonna have to say it died, lack of discussion.
Lack of
Lack
second.
of a second.
Okay,
Okay, so now we're still discussing the amount.
I'm going to attempt to share my screen. You tell me if you can see this.
Oh, thank you,
I can
Rachel.
see
I
it.
need the
Thank
big
you,
picture.
Rachel.
Maybe too much.
It's good.
You're down just a little bit. I think that's perfect, Rachel.
Okay. I'm supposed to have cabinet in like 15 minutes, but I might just skip it so you guys can see it on the screen.
Oh, how could you possibly skip the cabinet meeting?
And I think this meeting is recorded, so I can't get out of that comment now.
I used to be killed for that.
Okay, so discussion. And you know what, I want to go back to something just for the record. I think the 10 cases is only 3.4%.
Okay.
So we're talking about Artists Association. Is there any discussion?
Well, I just as soon give them at this point. You can always come back to it, but I just as soon at this point give them the 22,100. Last year was a pilot program and we wanted to see how well it was received. And my understanding is it was done very well, but we'll know after we go visit them this week.
Right.
So for now, I just as soon motion to give them the 22,100 because some of this may change after we go visit these places. Because you and I got a pretty good tutorial in this last year.
Right. They dealt with 43. They had 43 people participate. Oh, 13 students. I'm sorry. How did you provide class?
It is a lot of money per student. So I don't know, maybe we should hold this one until after we do the site visit.
We can do that. How does everybody else feel about that?
I kind of like that idea.
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to look at you all. It's hard for me. I'm pulling everybody up as I can see them. Brooke, I heard your voice. John has, everybody heard what John just said. John and Linda are discussing holding off until we actually do our site visit with this one.
I would go along with that idea.
Okay.
I
Brooke,
concur.
Linda?
Yes, hold.
Okay. So I am wondering right now if people want to hold off on some of the others until some site visits are done.
Well, you had questions for the ASAP NAMI thing, and you were going to do that.
I have ASAP NAMI and I want to talk with them at Fair Winds, and I am not going to be privy to your hospital. I think 2 people are going to the hospital, but I have a lot of questions for them, which I am not going to have any problem sending to the people going to the hospital.
As soon as we hear from them.
As soon as I hear from them. Oh, that's right. I haven't heard from them.
I think I think one we can whack away at right now is the food pantry. I can tell you right now, I'm not going to be in favor of cutting them at all.
Okay. So
Can I ask a question about the food pantry? And Linda, maybe you know the answer. Did it seems like they kind of have, and I'm fully supportive of what they're doing. So let me just preface that. But it seems like they have access to a lot more funding than maybe normal.
Yeah, I think you're right, Joe.
It's not just the food pantry, and they can't count on these other funding sources all the time. The CPC is constant, but they
Right.
can't necessarily count on these emergency supports, because they're not just the food pantry, it's rental assistance and fuel assistance. And that's where a lot of the rubber meets the road, especially rental assistance, because the rental assistance has been sucking them dry.
But that's the least amount of money that they put on the list of things that they have requests for. That was a small amount of money, if I'm correct.
Yeah, because the CPC picks up a large percentage of the rest of it.
Rachel, you're too damn good at what you do.
So I have no problem giving them the 85,000, because cutting them is cutting direct social services. And I think the 3 things that the interface does is it keeps people alive here.
Wait, can we wait? We're looking at this. So
Sorry, I don't, please don't characterize what I'm saying as a cut. That's not fair. I'm saying I feel like they're pretty well funded. They have a lot more resources. I'm not saying we shouldn't give them money. I'm just having the discussion that Dorothy is asking us to have. And it seems like they have a lot more money than maybe they've had access to in the past, because the community is coming together and giving them. And if I'm wrong, I thought the Community Foundation, she's calling them at the end of the month saying, this is what I need. And they said, okay. And that's up to X amount of dollars. And it was a lot.
Again, this money, they don't get this money from us until July 1. So nobody knows what the situation is going to be like next year.
okay,
And that's where a lot of this may not be there to support them next year. Who knows?
is the
At least they have
CPC,
constants.
the CPC and the Community Foundation are 2 different organizations. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, so so clearly they were, what I think Jill is saying is that above and beyond what the CPC gave them this year, the Community Foundation has been funding them. I'm sorry that.
Temporary basis. That's the problem. They don't know how long any of that's going to last, particularly a year from now, which is what this 85,000 goes towards, is a year from now. The CPC only picks up the rental assistance. We can't get involved with the fuel and the food.
So the extra money that they've gotten from the Community Foundation is directly COVID related. And
yes, they've never gotten money from them before.
Linda, you gotta let her finish. Brooke, finish what you have to say, please.
Thanks. So I would say that what this grant is doing is funding their normal expected operations outside of COVID. Correct? Am I correct in that interpretation? And then any increase in demand due to COVID, they really have done a great job of seeking that Community Foundation emergency money, Jill. So maybe helps clarify. the
Yes, that's
distinction.
exactly that's exactly right. Nobody knows if the community foundation funding will be there again next December. Whoever knows what's happening next December. This is to keep the program going, period.
But I do think that the numbers that they're showing us for, in this grant reflect the COVID and not the general, what it would be general if COVID was not in place.
Okay.
How much did you give them last year again? I'm sorry, I'm just gonna ask rather than,
We gave them, I believe, 70,000.
70.
Council, we gave them 70,000.
70,000.
Okay.
So there is an argument to be made that they do have access to many more resources that a lot of these other agencies do not have access to supplemental funding. So
In the normal basis and in the normal, in a year that isn't COVID, yes. They have more funding available to them this year due to COVID and the implications of COVID.
And the need is out of control.
Correct, for this COVID year. And so I think what Jill was coming in is on a basis of their operating budget going up to the next fiscal year, if we were to look at what their normal budget would be. Is that not what you're asking, Jill? Like, is it the normal costs that we're looking at?
Well, I guess what I'm trying to find out on a bigger level about them is what funding do they have? It seems like they have the funding that they need for COVID. And I'm not just talking about the CRC and CPC or CRC, CPC, Community Foundation. It also sounds like a lot of local businesses have given them money. I don't know that that really came out when we were talking about that, but I know a lot of people that have donated money to them, including our own household here. And I'm just kind of wanted to get a bigger picture. I guess what I heard from her, and I'm probably wrong, it's Janice, right? That
Yeah.
What I heard was at the end of the month, she sees where she is, she picks up the phone and asks for the money and it's coming in. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't be part of that, but it is part of that.
That is only this year.
Okay.
Be clear. That's not what normally happens with this organization. They
But
just don't pick up the phone at the end of the month in a, let's say 2011, 2015. That's not how that works ever. It's this year they've been able to cobble together, because I was talking to them like back in the early spring about how this is going to affect people, because
Yeah.
I'm on the Council on Aging. And this is this year. This is not to be translated into any other wackadoodle time, because nobody knows what's going to happen next year. So this 85,000 is because of the need for next year, COVID. Because they can't just pick up the phone every single month for the next 10 years. They can't do that. The funding is not there.
But
They've
they
been able
won't
to
have
cobble
that-
together a bunch of funding through the community for this.
Okay, so I'm gonna let Jill rebuttal that for a second, because she had something to feed back into that. I can't hear you, Jill. I'm sorry.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
I feel like it should be like that. That's exactly what a food pantry is. It increases when it needs to increase. It decreases when it needs to decrease. So that's why I'm asking about, I'm glad the community is coming together, and I feel like it's a really strong showing on the community's part. And we as a town are part of it, and our tax dollars are going to it. The CPC is giving $170,000. Is that right? That's what I wrote down from the other day.
2021, which has already been given. Is that the solid number, Linda? 170,000 for fiscal year 2021?
The year that we're in right now, only for rental assistance.
Correct.
Not
I'm just
for fuel, not for food.
Linda, we're understanding that. What we're asking is there 170,000 was what was given to them for fiscal year 2021, correct?
Yes, the year that we're in, yes.
Okay, on their fiscal year 22 requests that show on our documents, it says community preservation 200,000, but community preservation has given them 250,000. Am I correct?
I believe that's correct. I haven't looked at that since November.
Okay, but I think that's what you've told me, is that they have given them 250,000. So
Yeah, I
looking
can
at the
find it.
pending requests for 2022 for them, they have received $250,000 from the CPC. So
For rental. Yeah.
yeah, for rental, we're not saying it isn't rental. I think
But is ours broken down so it's just food and not rental? I mean, is
we
that
don't
something?
we don't really pay. We pay if you look at it, we pay some of their salaries.
Yeah.
I think Janet said we paid 15% towards salaries.
Is that the breakdown, 15?
That's what
And then
Janet
this,
said.
but their salaries increased like a lot this year, right? They used to just have one full-time person and now they have a couple of part-time people as well.
No, they've always had a manager in the
actually
food
had-
pantry.
They've actually had the Interfaith Council director. They've had the director of the food pantry, and they did in previous years had a part-time person who's, I know, gone full-time.
I think they're working with a lot of the fuel assistance applications, roping in food from various places on the Cape and in Boston food. So, yeah.
I think she told us that actually they're not doing a lot of they're not doing as many fuel assistance applications. They tend to be helping more on a local basis. Just give me 1 minute while I go over my notes here. Yeah, in fiscal year 27, they did 27 families with fuel assistance in the fuel assistance application process.
I have a feeling there's going to be a lot more this winter, unfortunately, unless it stays mild.
Right.
Wait 1 more minute, sorry. Oh, I forgot. So everybody knows I'm going on my phone to pull up an email, because with everything up here, I can't do that. No. Sorry. Hey, Anne,
Yeah,
my phone isn't allowing me to go back. Can you go back to the one where we asked for Janice's breakdown? The clarification that Janice sent us.
It'll be on the screen in a second.
Rachel, you're so good.
It's high-tech stuff.
That's
I
it.
still have a
Correct.
flip phone. It's Greek to me.
So the newer person that's here is, so Jamie Dixon's been working with them for a while.
Long time as a volunteer. I think she was the head of the, she used to run all of our volunteer stuff, like the chef's dinner and stuff.
Okay, so from what I understand from conversations, I can stand to be corrected. I think that she's been with them on the books for the last 2 years. And I think that this Kelly Steifen is newer, but I know that they had somebody they were paying to do a little bit of work last year in the food pantry as well. I would have to, Jill, I want to be able to answer that question better for you. I think I have to be able to pull up last year's finances.
Okay.
So if I can get back to everybody on that one, that would be great, because I'm sort of running out of time here too, Rachel. Rachel, I think you missed the fact that I have to call this meeting short because
Rachel can't join us.
That's fine.
She's always seeing
I have a procedure up at the hospital, okay?
I just checked. It is 250 for fuel assistance from the CPC.
Okay. Because
Rental
this said it was
assistance.
200 on what I looked at on the.
Yeah, that's what they asked for, but we
Yeah.
gave them 250.
Okay.
We're allowed, under the state act, we're allowed to do that. Because we can assess the community need and adjust it accordingly.
So I would say that this is potentially a grant that might have some wiggle room in the final number. I'm not saying I'm committed to that yet, but again, I kind of want to see where we go with some of the other ones. So,
I think sorry, go on.
you see what I'm saying?
Sorry, Brooke.
No.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they had the Act Saves income, that was $375,000. The, looks like the total income, if I'm reading this right, is 1.157. 1,157,518.13.
And how much of this is going out?
Well, they are the only organization that comes forward with money in the bank.
Because they have to, because they have to pay everything every single month.
No, I'm just saying that they're not they're operating.
Yeah, their expenses are 987,895. So yeah, they have carry over like $169,000.
Correct.
Yeah. I just wanted to, I'm very impressed with the community coming together for them, and I really wanted to make that point.
So I think that maybe what it looks like is, I think this is going to end up with more discussion, especially as we go into the other organizations asking for funding. So why don't we come back to this conversation on Wednesday?
What time on Wednesday are we doing it?
10 o'clock. Linda.
Okay. I just have one more comment about this. The basic human needs are food, shelter, and heat. And that's what this covers. And I again, will not, I personally will not vote to cut them at all.
Okay.
And I'm not.
You're duly heard. I think that we're just waiting to hear, to be able to have a better understanding and a greater conversation with this, and maybe some of the others as they're going to be coming up. And I think we're going to have a lot of questions and funding with them as well.
Yeah,
So-
and I think the point is that all we're saying, Linda, is we don't get to fully fund every one of these programs. So, we've got to ask.
Yep, I agree with that, but some programs should be funded because they're basic human needs.
And
Okay.
I agree.
You want to cut from the hospital? Like, none of these are fun. None of this, this is tough. And what I'm saying, looking at Fairwinds doesn't have an Act Saves of $375,000. Like,
In the past, the ones that have been cut, for those who are new, have been the higher ass. And then, 2,000 from here, 5,000 from here, that kind of stuff. But the higher ass of the ones that have been cut, because they have more to cut. And then we cut 5,000 from Safe Place, or 2,000 from Elder Service, and never Elder Services. But there's things like that we've cut, 500 here, 1,000 here, but it's going to be, we have $100,000 over what we have.
yeah, it
Wait, Jill,
gave them a lot more money. So
Okay, Jill.
it didn't get more town money. I'm just trying to make the point. We got to look at the places that have access to more dollars.
And that's this year.
Okay,
not
Linda
next
and
year.
Jill, I'm gonna think that this discussion is good. We should be carrying on the discussion, but I think this discussion go on for a little bit. Linda, I'm gonna clarify something. We have made cuts in all various ones, even the smaller ones like Small Friends and Past History, depending on the need. But most importantly is, I agree that food, heat, shelter are important, but I also don't think that we can look at any of the other things and not say they're equally important in other ways, because supporting them also helps keeping people into food with those basic needs. So That being said, I would, and I don't mean to be rude, guys. I'm sorry that I have to do this. I wasn't expecting it, or I would not have scheduled this meeting as is. I would like to see if somebody could make a motion.
Move to adjourn?
Yes, please.
Second,
So moved.
Okay, could I have Brooke,
Yes.
Bert,
yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Linda,
Yep.
John,
Yes.
Rachel, hi. I love the information, but I didn't, it was hard pulling up John and Bert. Okay, everybody, I look forward to seeing everybody. We will reach out to everybody when we find out from the other organizations that haven't seen us. We'll send out an email confirming everybody's date and time and where they're going to be. And I'll see you all at 10 o'clock on Wednesday.
Rachel, can you send that spreadsheet to Ann to share so we can plug in some, so I can plug in some things and play around with the numbers before our next meeting?
Okay, just for the record, you should have gotten that spreadsheet.
It's in a Word document. Ann did send it around, the current request. Yeah, it's in a Word document. So I converted it, that one thing, to Excel so that, and I put the formulas in. So as you enter numbers, it automatically calculates it. So you don't have to have a calculator. So I'll send it to Ann and she can go from there. But yes, everybody should have the one that Dorothy just put up, but it is Word. So it's.
Yeah, and this one helps you look at where funding has been. And then there was one that Rachel sent us that looks like this. It actually gives you the real history of the funding of the CRC.
Yeah, I'd like that one and I like the colored one.
I think you
So
have
Ann,
it.
I'll send you the Excel,
Yeah, but
that
I
new
can't
one,
find
and
it.
then maybe Ann can send the colored, the last one that she did, that's the Word, and then the Excel to everybody, just so that we make sure everybody has it.
Great.
Okay, guys, we are
Adjourn.
adjourned. So we'll see you later.
Okie dokie.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.